What's up, comrades? It's me, Night Wolf, and welcome to another video. And, right now, as it stands, E3 is going on. It has been underwhelming for the most part for a lot of people. I really haven't seen any games or anything that I'm super interested in as of yet. I'm kind of waiting for the Nintendo conference, and I'll probably talk about that in a lot of the other conferences, probably in a live stream, but this one is about Square Enix, and you guys know my relationship with Square Enix. You know how the company makes me feel most of the time. But here's the thing, there's always that slight glimmer of hope that something might pique my interest. There might be something there at their conference I might be interested in. Now, I'm going to briefly go over some of the stuff they announced, mainly just because I don't care about most of this. And that would be, let's see. Marvel's Avengers. Do not care about it. I've heard very poor things about it. At this point, there's barely any player base left to even consider keeping this game up and running. I don't understand that. Maybe there are more people, still playing this game. I don't know who, because from what I've understood, pretty much everybody has pretty much abandoned the game. And these updates and whatnot, they have an expansion for Black Panther. Cool, I guess, but I have no interest in that. Even though I love Marvel characters, kind of wish Marvel's Avengers would have been a better game, but I'm glad I didn't pay for it because good freaking lord, it's bad. I mean, at my Walmart, we had tons of them on sale for like $30, and even then, I didn't want them. That's how little I wanted these games. They've got pay mechanics, they got battle passes, all that kind of stuff. I don't care. I don't care about that stuff. I will say that their new Guardians of the Galaxy game kind of looks interesting, but once again, it's not a game actually made by Square. It's made by Eidos. I don't know if I can trust Eidos with this. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, plus side, they did manage to get Dan Abnett to be on camera and talk about Guardians, so that was kind of cool. I don't know if I'll buy this. I'll probably wait. I'm not interested. I'm not that interested. It was something that was interesting, but I know that because of how Marvel's Avengers went, they're probably not interested in doing co-op or multiplayer or being able to play as other characters. But that's not in this Guardians, which it's a team-based game, again. So the fact that I can't switch between the other characters at the very least, that's a big letdown. Not really 100% on board with that one. And I don't care about Life is Strange. Life is Strange is dull. To me, it's not that interesting. I'd rather watch people play it on YouTube than actually play it myself. My brother liked it, but I don't care for it. It's not my cup of tea. They talked about their mobile games very briefly, which was kind of a good thing because they've lingered on those too long in the past. But, okay, yeah, and the last thing that I'm not super interested in, Platinum Games Babylon's Fall. Don't really care about it, not really interested. Not that Platinum Games makes bad games all that often, but I'm just not interested in it. It doesn't look like something I would play anyway. But let's now actually cover the legitimate stuff. This is the stuff that would have mattered the most to me, which is involving Final Fantasy. So we're going to go over the stuff for Final Fantasy. There's not a lot to go with. The main bulk will be on their big announcement that they ended their conference with. Now, they did show a very brief, and I do mean brief, trailer saying that they're working on a Final Fantasies 1 through 6 pixelated remaster or something of that nature, whatever it's called. That was the main thing that interested me, and my interest in it has now officially died as well, because it should be a bundle. All 6 games should be available in a bundle. They're not, by the way. They are not available in a bundle. You all have to pay for them individually. That was confirmed by Sony, or not Sony, sorry, Square Enix. And, yeah, pretty sure those will be overpriced. They probably won't be like maybe $2, $3 games. They're probably going to be $5, $6, $10 games. And I mean, that may be okay if I was just only interested in buying one, which would be Final Fantasy VI. But what's even worse, it's only available on Steam and iOS, Android devices, that kind of stuff. It's for mobile, basically. There's no console release announcement currently. And yeah, my interest in it died. Now, don't get me wrong, I have my computer, and I wouldn't mind having those games on the PC just as much as having them anywhere else, but those games should be on a platform. They really should. They should be on some form of a platform. Like, personally, I think that it should at the very least be on the Nintendo Switch. Even if it was digital and the games were all bundled together for like $20 or something, I would buy that for my Switch, because I mean, basically it would be kind of like full circle, you know? They were originally on the Nintendo console, they're brought back to the Nintendo console. Probably, it would be great if they did a digital or a physical release, and it was maybe a limited physical release, and it was a special edition with some cool art, but that's probably not going to happen, ever. Probably because they just don't have the rights to that kind of stuff anymore. I don't know. But yeah, that was very, very disappointing. Very disappointed in that. It's the one thing that probably has the most interest in me. If things change, I will probably change my opinion and I might actually go and buy it. But of course, let's talk about the biggest announcement that they had for this conference, their last one, which is Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. Now, this is being developed and made by Team Ninja, and it's an action-based game. Okay, now people are calling this like a Dark Souls-like. Please, for the love of God, the cringe. Could we please stop doing that? Everything's Dark Souls-esque nowadays. Cuphead, the Dark Souls of platformers. It's stupid. Stop it. Okay? Just frickin' stop. It's getting old. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing it. This game is probably going to be it's made by Team Ninja. It could be hard. They are the same guys who did the Neo games, and those games are kind of hard from what I understand. Probably not brutally difficult like Ninja Gaiden or some of the Ninja Gaiden games, but very hard, or hard enough. So maybe this will be a challenging game. But I'm not interested in it, and I'll tell you why I am not interested in this game. This is supposed to be the origin of the very first Final Fantasy. I'm assuming it's supposed to be some sort of idiotic prequel to the original? Maybe it's supposed to be a reimagining of the original? It's hard to tell. But, yes, I'm pissed. I genuinely hate this thing. I look at it, and it angers me. It makes me physically want to punch something. Or at the very least, it makes me physically ill. Because, and the reason why it's connected to the original, the original Final Fantasy, Garland, the first villain in the original Final Fantasy. And, You want to know what's funny? When I saw the name, granted, he's not the director, but when I saw the name, I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be terrible. And you know who it is. You know who I'm referring to. We're talking about the idiot, the hack, known as Tetsuya Nomura. I'm not sorry for saying that. This man has no business anywhere near Final Fantasy. He screwed over Kingdom Hearts enough. Please keep him as far away from Final Fantasy as humanly possible, please. But yeah, he's a character designer and he's also a producer, I guess. But I can already tell that his dirty fingers are all over this damn thing. It is so goddamn obvious. It isn't even funny. This is probably one of those projects that Square gave to him as director, and then they took him off of it because he was swamped with too many other projects, and then they just saddled it to a different director. That's probably what happened, because it's very clear when you see the style, the aesthetic, the dialogue. It is clear-cut Nomura to me. I can't see anybody else writing the same dialogue the same way. I'm not talking about the voice acting. I'm talking about the dialogue. What's being said, not who's saying it. I mean, hey, yeah, you know, it's good stuff. We get to see a protagonist that is pretty much most of the time wearing nothing but a random t-shirt and pants. Brilliant character design work. Tetsuya Nomura must have fell asleep at his desk that day and ran out of time to actually design something that would be actually at least moderately interesting. But no, let's talk about the dialogue. The fact that he says darkness. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean chaos all the damn time. Seriously, I think Tetsuya Nomura needs a goddamn thesaurus or something. He needs a thesaurus. That's what he needs. Because the man's dialogue has not improved since Kingdom Hearts. In Kingdom Hearts, it can be forgiven. The hokey, kind of painfully average dialogue can be forgiven. Mainly just because it's kind of meant for a younger audience anyway, so it's not that bad. That's not a problem for me. If I play the original Kingdom Hearts or Kingdom Hearts 2 or any of the other Kingdom Hearts and they mention darkness all the time, it's not nearly as annoying. But this is a Final Fantasy game where I expect the dialogue to be a bit better. And the character constantly saying chaos in a near 2-minute long trailer is not a good thing. It's a bad thing. Oh, funny thing, they did announce a demo, and the demo, at least as of me recording this, is not working. Hilarious! Good job, Square. Well done. That was brilliant. Now I'm going to take a bit of an aside to talk a little bit about why I think that Square isn't just this conference. Square is just a shitty company. I'm just going to say it because many other people are not going to say it. They're a bad company. And they have been for a long time. Their games have continued to dip in quality countless times. They seem like they're behind the 8 ball, basically, is what I'm going to say. Let's think about it. They're doing a Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale shooter game when the fad of Battle Royales is no longer the going trend. Yet they're still going through with this project. Final Fantasy VII's remake being split into multiple segments. They probably got that idea from the Telltale series of games, and they thought, oh, that'd be cool, we can ask them for more money over time. It isn't because the game is overly large. It's not. And I don't care what anybody says. No, that is not the reason why Final Fantasy VII is not fully released. It's because they thought that they could milk it for as long as humanly possible. That's why they did it. And I don't want to tread on that ground already. I've already done that enough. Link in the description to the videos that I've discussed Final Fantasy VII's remake. But getting kind of back on topic. Final Fantasy is in a place that I don't think most of the fan base will stick around for. When you see games like Dragon Quest, let's compare the two. Square's Final Fantasy that they've been making since the 1980s, and Enix's Dragon Quest, roughly about the same amount of time. Both of them were competing for years for, supremacy. Both companies ended up in financial struggle in the early 2000s and late 90s. Therefore, the merger. But here's the thing. If you go and look at Dragon Quest through all its subsequent series, all the series, the spin-off games, the mainline games, even all the way up to where we are currently with Dragon Quest XI, look at its art style. Look at its direction. It hasn't changed. Now, some people might take issue with that it hasn't changed. Some people might think like, oh, that's not very cool. They haven't changed at all. They haven't grown with the times. But they're still well-loved games. The aesthetic of these games is one that has been so ingrained in its series. Mainly because of Akira Toriyama and his work in the franchise. And it's good stuff. Akira Toriyama's art style is well loved by pretty much everyone that I know of, and that's why they don't change it. I don't think it would be a good idea to change it, to go to like fully realistic Dragon Quest. It wouldn't work. Because everybody is so used to seeing Akira Toriyama's beautiful character design and work. That influence in the franchise. They like that. The designs are iconic. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm actually thinking about it right now. The father of Final Fantasy, Sakaguchi himself, has not been with the company for a very long time. And I'm starting to think that without him leading, directing, focusing the design, giving us that iconic Final Fantasy look, with him gone, the franchise is rudderless. It has no clear direction. They've tried to find a replacement for Sakaguchi. They think Tetsuya Nomura is the guy to replace him. At least that's what it comes off as. But he's not. He's not the right guy for this franchise. It's very clear he's not. He lacks the vision. He lacks the writing talent. He lacks the directorial talent. If he can botch something as simple as Kingdom Hearts, making him go on a project that has a little bit more meat on it, something that's a little bit harder to do, it's not going to work. It just can't work. Not with him in charge. This direction for... Because look, it's in 16 too. They're trying different things because they don't know what to do. There's no direction. No clear direction, I should say. There's direction, but the direction is all over the place. Right now, currently, they're trying to follow trends. They're trying to follow the trends of Western games that are popular, instead of focusing on what makes Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy. when you take other games into consideration, especially, like I said, if we take Dragon Quest, for example, has its combat system changed all that much in the last 20, 30 plus years of its existence? It's 35 years old now. Has it changed? No, not really. Combat is pretty much the same as it's always been. That's a good thing. It keeps the fans who enjoy Dragon Quest happy. Sure, they may add new features, new abilities, new skills. They may change up the combat a little bit here and there, but overall, it's the same product. And the problem is that Square doesn't know how to innovate Final Fantasy. They don't know how to streamline a combat system that worked for years into something that would work now. Now they want to try and take the games and try to appease the Western audience. No more turn-based combat. Now it's all action-based combat. Now, I mean, look at 16. I've not done a video discussing 16. But when you look at 16, everybody pretty much said it. It looks like a Witcher ripoff. That's what everyone was saying. It looks like they took inspiration from The Witcher. Not from Final Fantasy. They took their inspiration from another highly popular game. And it's funny. Some people complain about game franchises not changing their combat systems or copying combat systems, but yet Square, I haven't really heard very many people complain that Square is ripping off other combat systems for game franchises that are superior to them, basically. Anyway, I think that's about all I want to say on this subject matter. I went longer than I planned, but, you know, it happens. But I'm gonna stop here. I don't want to dwell on it anymore. And I know some people will probably be mad that I'm continuing to rag on Square, but it's like once they do something good and proper, I'll be happy to praise them. But that's not gonna happen anytime soon. So we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did, please, if you could, please leave a like. It would mean a lot. Subscribe if you're new here. Shoot me a comment. I've botched this entire outro entirely. Look at me go. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Hit notifications. Check out the other Square Enix games. Or Square Enix videos I've done. I'm all over the place now. And of course, as always, do not forget to raise your nerd flags high, and I'll see you next time. Nightwolf is out.